Hello.
Shani, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm
Good.
good.
Good. So, questions prepared.
Love it.
Um, okay, so I signed up with you and everything's going well. I do well. I'm grateful.
Mhm.
Um, so I've just kind of hit being ADHD, like wanting to do everything. But I've kind of think I've come to the place where I want to hire
Hmm.
somebody um, just so I can do more things outside of the group. So I guess first question is, uh, what would be your like first recommendation of what I should do to get this like started?
Yeah. It's so funny. The person I was talking to right before you was the same conversation.
Oh,
She's like, I'm
really?
full, I'm hiring. So
That's
yeah.
awesome.
So I'm all
Okay.
primed. I'm ready.
Yeah.
I think first things first, I want you to get really clear about how you're going to show up as a leader.
Mm.
Part
Okay.
of abundance of success is because there's so many shitty group practices out there.
Yeah.
And the people who started those group practices were not shitty people.
Oh my
They
God.
still aren't. They're just bad leaders.
Yeah. That was
So,
it. Yeah.
so I want you to be thinking about like how are you going to show up very transparently, but with boundaries.
Yes.
What are your boundaries going to look like?
Mm.
Um, Therapists are usually poor leaders because we are so nice that we are not
Yeah.
effective. And so
Yeah.
we don't set clear expectations, which you need to do from the very first conversation you have with someone, maybe even from your job listing,
Okay.
of like being very clear about what your boundaries are going to be and
Okay.
what you expect from people, because that creates safety. If I
Okay.
know I have to get my documentation in within 24 hours or I'm going to be fired, I'm going to do it. But if I don't know that it's that dire, I'm going to let it slide a little here and there. And then you're going to talk to me about it. I'm going to be like, I'm so sorry. Yeah, I'll get to it. I'll catch up. And then we're going to have the conversation 50 more times. And you're going to be like, should I fire her? Should I not? Like, is it worth the liability? I like her in all other ways, but she keeps doing this thing and I keep talking to her about it
Yeah.
because you haven't set clear expectations and you haven't held your boundaries.
Mm. Hmm.
So
Okay.
that is like to me the number one thing. You have
Mhm.
to really want to manage somebody if you're going to own a group practice. So,
Yeah. It took me a while to get here. I think I am ready now because I mean, part of what I do, anxiety and ADHD in women, because that is me.
mhm.
So I definitely didn't think that I was ready, but I think that I am now. But I don't love the fact that, managing someone else. Like, I think I'm ready for the responsibility now, but it's not something that I'm ever drawn to.
Okay. What is it that makes you want to do a group practice?
I want to, I, I, how do I make, I don't have to make this sound good.
No.
I think I'm a business owner.
Hmm.
If and not like, I think that is my desire. So I
Hmm.
have other businesses I want to start. Well,
Hmm.
I'm in the middle of starting right now. And so I just don't have the time. I want my money to, and I work for me.
Hmm.
So am, I'm in a finances class, okay? And I'm like
Hmm.
really into finances and investing and everything. So I am passionate about making my money work for me.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't ready before because I never do anything that I know that I'm not ready for. I don't have a passion to do.
Hmm.
So now I do have a passion, I mean, to like hire one person. Like I am not into like building a practice.
Hmm.
And maybe I'm already doing it. But I just kind of want a little bit more freedom
Hmm.
to move around. If
Okay.
that makes any sense. I don't know.
So, one thing I want you to know, and I'm glad you're in a finance class because you will hear this in a different way.
Yes.
The profit margins in a group practice are tiny.
Okay.
Often, once you've hired your second clinician, you are
Mhm.
making less than you made
Mm.
as a solo practitioner. So
Interesting.
it's a matter of scale that makes a
Mm.
group practice work. The people who are killing it as group practice owners, they're on vacation, they're not having to do much. They've got like 30 clinicians working for them.
Mm. So I'm not growing it so I can be like that.
Okay.
I'm growing it so I think the business that I'm opening now, which is it's early child care. It's and I want to work with children, like help developing executive functioning skills.
Hmm.
So that's just kind of my passion. And I do want to keep this running because I mean this is my main income. That's one thing. But also I don't want to do it like full time. And sometimes, well, I guess that kind of goes into something else because like I'm gonna have to advertise for these people and like
Hmm.
and I have been so blessed that I haven't really had to do that for myself. I've really
Hmm.
just people have come and I just thank God for that. So I guess that goes into like I mean, I guess maybe is it worth it? Like if I have like just like one clinician
Hmm.
um, where I'm just getting a little bit more, honestly. I'm not really looking for like high profits. I think that's going to come in this other business, but I'm just kind of looking for where I don't have to do everything. I don't have to do this full time. Like I really want to do this part time.
Hmm. The clinical work or the childcare?
Well, they both will be part time, but it's the
Okay.
clinical. Like I want to
Hmm.
do it part time, mostly because I don't know if you heard of HRSA or like
Hmm.
and it like pays back NHSC where it pays back your student loans.
Okay.
So if you live in a rural area, you can apply for this loan, and if you're a therapist, social worker, or counselor, it'll pay back your student loans for you.
Okay. Even though we just got declassified, it's still happening.
I haven't heard anything. Were we declassified?
Yeah.
Um,
We were all
I
declassified as non-professionals, which usually means student loan repayment doesn't happen anymore. And we can't get as
okay.
much in student loans.
Okay, so I don't follow the news, so I can just
Uh-huh.
like control my anxiety. But I did not know
Yep,
that.
fair.
So
Hmm.
until like they like send me something that says like we don't, um, then that's what I'm supposed to be going for. And that would be the only reason why, not the only reason why, because I still love what I do. Um, but I wanted to like do the part-time work so I could still qualify for that.
Hmm.
But interesting, we were declassified, so I would have to reach out and see.
Yeah, yeah. Look into it and see,
Yeah.
because it might be that there are some asterisks somewhere that make it possible. And I don't know
Mhm.
what it means for people who are already in a process, like, but find out from them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I just got my agency like accredited for it. Like I myself haven't applied yet because they do
Mhm.
one year and then one the
Mhm.
next year. But
Got it.
okay. Um, so I guess the next question, like, or what are the most complicated things
Hmm.
about this process?
Um, I would say the two most complicated things are actually more emotional than actual like strategy. And
Okay.
that would be you are going to be responsible for somebody's livelihood.
Oh, yes.
And so you need to be really clear about how you're going to get clients in the door for them. You need to have a certain flow before you consider hiring somebody,
Mm,
so that your people don't end up like the people I keep hearing from of like, I'm working in this group practice and I am not getting enough clients. And like, I
mm.
don't know if I'm going to pay my rent. So we don't want
Yeah.
that for you or for them.
No, no, no.
So,
Right.
um, so there's that piece. And then there's the like, the complicated part is the ongoing relationship as a leader.
Okay.
The actual business part is not
Yeah.
super complicated.
Oh,
It's like
okay.
a bunch of annoying steps.
Okay.
Like you're going to need an MPI too if you're taking insurance or if you're going to use super bills for
Yeah.
reimbursement. You're going to need um, to consider workflow. A really hard part is hiring a good clinician.
Yeah.
which you need to hire somebody that you would send friends or family to. I
Mm.
want that to be like a lens that you include when you're considering an applicant or when you're interviewing people, because
Okay.
often people are going to call you and they're going to be like, "Oh, but Shani, I really wanted you." And you're
Mm.
going to say, "Well, I don't have any availability right now,
Yeah.
but so and so, this is who I would send my friends or family to if I could." Like she
Mm.
and I think about this in a very similar way, and she gets really great results with her clients.
Okay.
So like we can't be anything except exceptionally confident in the people we hire clinically.
Okay.
Um, so usually with that, I start with network first.
Mm-hmm.
And this is going to give you a great opportunity to try on your boss hat.
Okay.
And if it's somebody you know and they're like, "Hey, I'd like to work for you." Like if you're like,
Okay.
"Hell no," in the back of
Yeah.
your head,
Yes.
then you can be like, "I'm really sorry. Like I don't know that we'd really be a good fit as like
Mm.
a boss employee."
Yes.
Or if there it's a total yes for you in your head, but you do have like one or two caveats, and it's like, let's have a conversation. And you
Okay.
need to be really like, I know that you talk about having to reschedule a lot,
Mm.
or you only want to work 10 hours a week. And
Mm-hmm.
that's not going to work in this
Yes.
practice. But I would love to see like, what's your flexibility with that? Or can we brainstorm something that could work for the two of us without forcing anything?
Okay. 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 That's good. All right. I think you answered some other ones. So advertising, I mean, is it just like this? I would just have to come up with my own flow first, that's what you were
Hmm.
saying, of
Hmm.
how I would do it um before I hire someone. Should I start? When should I start trying to do that?
Immediately. Yeah.
Okay.
So I get really clear on your marketing plan first. So
Okay.
like right now, people are coming to you. That's not because you haven't done anything. Like you
Yeah.
have relationships, you've networked.
Gotcha.
There are things that you have done that are causing you to get clients.
Yes. Yes.
So I would think through, like I would look at everybody that has reached out to make an appointment with you, whether they scheduled or not, and think through like where did they come from? How did they find me?
Okay.
And if that's through different relationships, then double down on your time with those relationships.
Okay.
Let
Okay.
them know I'm working to hire somebody who works in similar ways to me, who sees things the way I do, so that it's keeping your practice top of mind.
Okay. Okay. Um, is there anything different about advertising that a group practice does versus like an individual practice? Like it's
It's usually just a matter of scale.
okay.
So, I'll see group practices. You want to clone yourself for one thing. So, like your
Okay.
first hire should always be somebody just like you,
Okay.
like
Okay.
clinically.
I love that. Okay.
And that way, the people who are like, I really wanted to see you, you can be like, this person's just like me. Um,
Okay.
and it keeps everything clear. Like if you've got a website, it keeps your niche the same. It keeps all the marketing the same. You're just going to do more of it.
Mm.
So whatever's been working for you, do more of it.
Okay.
Sometimes group practices, I'll see group practices they have a bigger budget. So they'll do Google Ads, for instance. I've
Mm-hmm.
seen some people, depending on your niche, some people have really great results with that, some don't.
Yeah.
With the ADHD piece, you're going to be up against some of the big therapy tech. So
Hmm.
it may or may not be worth playing with.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
So, but for anxiety, it might work. There's still big therapy tech there, but
Hmm.
it's worth trying with a professional if you've got the budget for it. It's
Right.
also not necessary
Okay.
because it sounds like you have a lot of connections, enough connections that you haven't had to worry. So I would strengthen those. I would
Mm.
become known as like this is the practice for anxious folks with ADHD. Like this is the only place you want to send them because this is our bread and butter.
Okay. Okay. Oh, do you think that, I don't know, this is your opinion, but do you think it's like a good idea? I mean, I don't know. If there's no declassification,
Hmm.
um, to put that in advertising, like to hire someone, like this is something that you could apply
Yeah,
to. Okay.
for sure, for sure. And I think that you might legally need to have some sort of kind of asterisk with it, right? Because you're not in charge of those programs. So you could
True.
say the possibility of student loan repayment, and give them all the information you have, but
Okay.
kind of get it from the horse's mouth as best you can.
Okay. No, that's makes a lot of sense. And I mean, I have an office, like,
Mhm.
but it's like an office room inside of like a larger place where other people rent out things. Like, do you think that if I do this, I should like try to find a space where like they have their own thing instead of like trying to make it work, like piece it together? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think
If that's
if in a hybrid practice, like you could piece together like some in person, some um
hmm
like some virtual. You will need to kind of vet their space if they're virtual because it's representing your practice. So you need to make sure it's private. You need to make sure it's not like junked up behind you, that kind of thing.
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. And I think the last one was like any other advice or anything that you just think that I should know.
Yeah. So, yeah, you're responsible for somebody's livelihood. So being really clear about what your referral flow is like so that you could predict when are they going to be full. Like
Okay.
if you were to start a wait list, for instance, while you're looking to hire someone and you let those people know, I'm happy to give you referrals and I can put you on a wait list. You just let me know. And
Right.
then that way when somebody starts, they've got some clients they can get started with. And if you're like, okay, well, I get 3 referrals a week that typically convert and
Yeah.
become clients, then if I'm expecting folks to see 23 people in a week, I'm just making up numbers. And
Yeah.
usually for a group practice for the what's the word I'm looking for? I said it earlier. For the profit margins, you do need somebody usually seeing somebody at like 20 to 25 clients a week for the
Okay.
margins to make sense.
Okay.
Um, then you can say, um, you know, I'm can get them full. Like it's likely that you will be full by this date with
Okay.
like 3 intakes per week until that time.
Okay. So I want to be fair.
Hmm.
Um, when it comes to pay, is it like 40, 50% of what it comes in? Like, how does that normally work?
Yeah. So if they're a W-2 employee, which the IRS would say they need to be, then usually the split is 50-50 because you're paying the taxes for them. If you're doing a 1099 contractor, they're paying their own self-employment taxes. And that's, you know, that's usually more of a 60-40 or 70-30 split, usually more like 60-40. You're going to have a lot more overhead with another person if they're an employee,
Right.
or if they're a contra and both and right. So
Yeah.
oftentimes, like I know when I worked in group practices, I was like 40%. Like you're getting so much of what I make,
Yes.
but it's not by the time you spread it out over overhead, like the space, the EHR,
hmm
malpractice insurance. Are you
hmm
giving them a stipend for continuing ed? Are
hmm
you like in what ways are you supporting them? Most group practices aren't able to do health insurance, especially with all the rates going up. But
Right.
like, what are you doing to make it a good place to work?
Mhm.
Um, So as you do the math, and I want you to do lots of math, which it sounds like
Yeah.
you're down for, um, that
Yeah.
finance class, like do the math to look at the margins. There
Okay.
is another thing is there's the group practice exchange, which there's a podcast. They have what's called the exchange, which is like the abundance party, but it's about group practices.
Okay.
She gives you like all the forms you need to hire people. She talks you through leadership stuff. There's a lot of
Right.
really good, rich resources in there.
Oh,
So
that's
that
awesome.
would be a good place to invest.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. I mean, that definitely, I was thinking 1099 and that would be to me would be the easier way.
Yeah, it's definitely easier for the group practice owner, but it's not necessarily the most legit. So,
Legit meaning
meaning like if you were to like
oh
if
pay wise.
yeah, well, if you look up at the I if you look up the IRS
Hmm.
and you look at what's a contractor and what's an employee, pretty much 90% of the people who are being paid as contractors in group practices should be employees.
Mm.
So, like in California, you can't do 1099s. They're like absolutely not.
Okay. Okay.
So if you want to stay on the right side of the IRS and not maybe get dinged later at a very high cost, I would
Mm.
start out with W-2s. It's easier to set expectations with employees too, legally.
Hmm.
You do have to provide more for them. If they work 30 hours a week or more, which they shouldn't be doing. In certain states, you need to provide health insurance. But please don't make your people work that much just because that'd be awful.
No.
Um,
I feel like
if,
everybody starts off that way and then they somehow it just like shifts. I never want to be a person that shifts in that. Like
yeah,
I hope I never do.
yeah. And it can be hard on employees going through that shift because they're like, wait, why are we shifting? What does
Hmm.
that mean? So wait,
Yeah.
I'm now getting less of my money? And it's like, yeah, but you're not paying taxes. You're maybe banking more.
Right.
Um,
Right.
so it's just messier to start
Mm.
off that way. That's what most people do. So it's easy to be like, oh, well, this is what everybody's doing. So I think if you were, especially if you're considering pre-licensed folks,
Hmm.
they have to be an employee because it says very clearly in the IRS rules that you cannot dictate how somebody does their job, which is like
Mm.
literally what supervision is. So, yeah, yeah,
That's a really big good to know.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Thanks for that one.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. Okay. I mean, like this is definitely helpful. Makes me think about it
Mhm.
twice.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
And I will say, like, if it's for more money, there
Yeah.
are so many other ways to make more money. So many cleaner, easier ways to make more money.
Yeah.
Um, so that might be working at a premium fee. Like,
I know. That is so hard for me. That
okay,
is so, so difficult for me because I just I don't know if I can do it.
okay.
I would love to, but then I'm just like because I have been in that place where I'm like especially being a therapist myself, like I want someone who's really good at what they do.
Hmm.
And that premium fee, given the fact that I take insurance, I don't make that
Hmm.
much money.
Right,
Um, and with all my bills that I have, like to be able to afford it. And I'm just like, what about the people who can't afford it and they
right,
really want good care?
right.
Oh,
Well, and I mean, like, so I charge a premium fee, but I have a $50 session sliding scale. So like I have a sliding scale client at all times that pays $50 instead of the like my sliding scale is 150, the way a lot of people end up doing, which does capture people who can't afford their higher fee. But like
right.
I can offer a very low sliding scale fee that's less than most people are paying for their copay because I
Yeah.
charge 300 a session. It's because I was a sliding scale person myself, so I
Right.
value that.
Yeah, I do. I
Yeah.
do. I mean, and that goes into like, I know that there's because I talked to someone else because I know there's another group that you have that
Hmm.
kind of helps you with that. But not but, and I was interested in it because I would have to learn how to advertise myself that way and
Yeah,
how to
yeah,
like, because I think it's a whole different type of thing. I mean, it's not a bad idea.
yeah. And what you're talking about is limitless practice, and that's
Yeah.
we're opening the doors for that again in January to
Oh,
start in
okay.
February. So you can think on it. And maybe in the meantime, listen to Tiffany McLean's podcast, Lean In Make Bank, or no, The Money Sessions is her podcast. Lean In Make Bank is her business. But just from a like money mindset perspective, just to think through it, because it doesn't have to be as exclusionary as we often think it has to be, the money piece.
Right.
So,
I mean, I mean, like, I know, like, I know that it can be made.
mhm.
I just, I think I have to get over whatever it is. And it's also the thing, like, will I get people? You know, that's always a thing. Like, will I
Yeah,
get
yeah, for sure.
so?
And you would definitely have to ramp up your marketing significantly. Like you would have to
Yes.
feel really confident and know what you're doing. And um yeah, like people will pay it. And it's not just a bunch of rich people the way we all think it is. And if it allows you to offer a sliding scale or it allows you, like Tiffany is not as pro sliding scale. She and I have these fun debates sometimes, and she's like, meh, no sliding scale.
Hmm.
Because there's so many other ways to give back to our community that don't have to be through our job that we get paid for to pay for our lives.
Very
So
true.
none of my software engineer friends are ever like, oh, I just need to have a sliding scale for all these people in need. You know,
Right.
they're
Right.
donating to causes because they make bank. So,
Right. No,
mhm.
you're right. And one of the reasons why I was staying in it is because I want to pay back my student loans. But if that's all like out the door, then I'm just like, I might as well maybe,
Yeah.
So, okay, you said Tiffany McLean.
Yeah. So Lean and Make Bank is her website. She has a fees calculator that's amazing. She has a podcast called The Money Sessions.
Oh, wait, Lim. No, I get
Yeah,
her
Lim.
emails.
She's
Okay.
amazing. Yeah.
Okay.
Listen to her
I always,
podcast. That's a good thing to have in your ears as you're just thinking about this stuff.
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you
Awesome.
remind me what the price is for Limitless Practice?
Limitless practice is 5,000.
Yeah, that.
Yeah. And we
Okay.
have a payment plan as well. But I know it's,
That's something to think about.
yeah,
Okay. Well, thank you so
amazing.
much for all of the information and resources. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All
I will see you
right. All
later.
right. Thank you.
Take
Bye.
care.